Kia ora. Welcome, Gabe from Foley, to the Aotearoa Guitar Show. How are you doing these days?
I'm good. I'm enjoying the fruits of our labor. We just put out the latest EP with Foley called Like an Actress. And it's a really good time. We're getting a lot of people listening to it and lots of feedback and lots of thoughts, and it's great.
That is great. So you've originated from Tamaki Makaurau, Auckland, yeah? Mm-hmm. And you're basically making some, what I would consider some amazing pop or indie pop tunes. And I recommend everybody should check you guys out for sure. So for Like an Actress, the EP that you just did, how and where did you do the recording for that? Was that all in a studio? Was that mixed between studios? Was it any of it done at home, or what did that look like?
It was a mix, actually. We wrote the majority of the songs in Sydney, and then back and forth between Sydney and Auckland. We've just sort of like semi-relocated over here, and we've been working with a lot of new collaborators and being in a lot of new studio spaces and just kind of finding our feet within the community here. So a few of the tracks we worked with Nico and Max from a band called Loretta, and they have a studio sort of like buried in the depths of an office building. It's kind of this like, down the rabbit hole kind of secret passageway vibe. And it's always got red lights in it. We wrote a lot of songs there, and Max is a great guitarist and has a great collection of guitars and has just brought out a new side of the guitars for us for a few of those songs. And then I think the remainder were done either in Auckland in person or just remotely with Josh Naley, who's been a long-time collaborator of ours. And he's based in Auckland at the moment.
Nice. Very nice. Yeah. So I one of the things I wanted to point out is that I tend to go towards, especially in times that we live in currently, I tend to go towards myself personally, the kind of punk rock anger, the system is so messed up kind of thing. And I just wanted to actually share with you like how actually refreshing the positivity that I felt like coming off the EP was, because we all need to stop and take a breath from time to time. And like today, it was beautifully and sunny outside, and I was on my way on the school run, and I had the EP going, and it was kind of perfect because the weather's not too hot, the sun wasn't trying to kill me too bad, and it was really, really nice, and it was a nice touch to actually have for a soundtrack, I guess, for the kind of day that we had. So yeah, props to you on that one. What led you to create these types of songs, especially like right now? It's tough. So I was just kind of wondering if there's some specific inspiration, or if that's just kind of the direction the music was taking when you were writing it.
For sure. I think the inherent sort of vibe of this music came about mostly because of the new location that we're in, and I think the circumstances of what that entails, when you move countries or houses, you often have your stuff kind of just everywhere. Oh, yeah. And just so happened that like, my acoustic was the one that was like lined up on the couch the majority of the time, and I'd just like play away at it. And so like start writing ideas, and the acoustic became more of a heavy theme throughout the recording, like as we went through. So I think a lot of that positivity probably came originally from that, but secondary, like we not intentionally sort of just have wanted to create this like escapism without being like fantasy, if that makes sense. Like you can still escape into the reality and like the emotions and the joys and the wonders of life, without having to resort to big concepts or like big worlds that you're building. And I think that there's some real beauty in that, especially in the way that Ash and I write songs together. And it's always about our friendship and our relationships and the interactions that we have as people, the struggles and the joys that we have in life. So I think it just came at a inherently like positive time in our lives, I think. And then the music reflected that, but then there was a few little key touchstones along the way that led to it sounding like the way it does.
Yeah. So I like what you were saying there. There's not a full detachment from reality with it, which is kind of the key there. Yeah, that's great. So you mentioned the acoustic there, and yes, I can hear the acoustic throughout the EP, and it's really nice. And the other thing is, as you were describing that, I thought to myself, honestly, especially with mostly major chords, like I don't think there's a happier instrument than an acoustic guitar. Like realistically, like I thought about it for a while there, and was like, I mean, sure, you can have a keyboard or a piano sound fairly happy, and some people might associate a harp with being kind of happy, but I just don't think that there's anything quite like an acoustic guitar for that.
Well, there's no other instrument that hasn't had. Obviously, the guitar is associated with every genre of music, but there's no other instrument outside of the world of guitar that has that hasn't had an association with like the blues or jazz or any of those like really complex genres with real depths of emotion. So I think you can always trust a guitar to just like do the 4 chords and like be around a campfire, Whereas someone pulls out like a blues harp, they're going to be wailing on that thing, and you're going to be feeling all types of ways.
Yeah, for sure. So I know you said that, and again, it was apparent that the acoustic was through the whole EP. Was there any electric guitar used on that? Because there's a few places where I'm like, that could either be an electric guitar or it could be just an acoustic with some layered effects added to it. Or what did that look like?
Yeah, there's a whole bunch. There's my Fender Strat is on there. A wee bit, and I think in some of them I recently got a Squire Bass 6, which is on a few of the tracks. It's just hanging in the back there. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I love that.
And then just a variation of random guitars that end up in the studios. I think Josh has a Tele that's been on a few of the tracks.
Nice.
And Max had a plethora of electrics and acoustic that we ended up using. I think there was like a Epiphone Les Paul bass with like a Guns N' Roses sticker on it at some point.
That just has to get used,
just the
right?
things.
Like,
what's that?
I said that just has to get used, right?
Oh yeah. There's no question about it. It's like you come full circle. You go from wanting one of those things at 12 years old. You get it. You put the neon strings on it. It fades out of glory, and then as you come back around, you're like, you know what? I was onto something.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And so were you when you're in the studio, were you playing direct in, or were you doing through amplifiers or modeling, or what did that look like?
A lot of it was just direct in. Yeah, we were using lots of plugins just in Logic, and a majority of the acoustics were recorded with a mic, whether that was like a SM57 or just whatever condenser we had along at the time. A lot of the magic of the EP is really just like capturing the essence of what that studio sounded like at the time. And in a few of the songs like Honey, you can hear us talking because we were doing our like main guitar take and everyone was just like having a chat. We were trying to figure out where we were in the song, and you can still hear that throughout the song. And it's actually become quite, critical to that song. There's like count-ins and there's like a here we go, there's all sorts in there.
Yeah, that's nice. It's also it's a nice differentiator too from probably a lot of AI songs that are being generated out there. So
of course, yeah. No one's talking in the room on that one.
Yep, not at all.
Yeah.
Excuse me. So yeah, thanks for letting me know about that. And when you play live, what does your live rig typically look like?
Yeah, I got a pretty consistent live rig these days. The main guitar I use is my Fender Strat, which I talked about before, which is a 2010 one that I bought basically sight unseen as a teenager, and it had a humbucker in it at the time. And over the years, I swapped out the pickups for these like really, really cheap Fender ones. I think they're the Tex-Mex ones. They were like $60 or something insane. I swapped them out with those and have basically been running that ever since. and that goes into a Stomp XL, which does the majority of my tones and sort of MIDI mapping. And then I've got a Hotcake overdrive, which is the best overdrive in the world, and a Diamond compressor as well. So that's all running into a Fender Hot Rod Deluxe as well.
Okay.
Just to get a little bit more like mids and grit out of that Fender tone.
Right.
You know, I originally had grown up on Marshalls, and then I slowly pivoted away when I saw the light, and then went, I think the light's too bright, so I went back a little bit. But yeah, that's the majority of it when I play live. I've also got a Rickenbacker 330, which sometimes makes an appearance, but hasn't in a while.
Okay.
So I should really get back on that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, gotta have a few of them on stage, right, to look the part. Yeah. So what was your first guitar?
My first guitar, it was a Walden acoustic, which I've still got. And I really respect my mum for buying me that one when I think I was 11, and not buying me the Flying V or whatever I wanted, you know, at the time, because I think when you're first starting out, you know, you need to be on an acoustic because it's a little bit harder. You know, you're going to develop a bit more resilience to the wonders of guitar playing. And then I think after that, I got a Epiphone Les Paul, which I no longer have, but that was really crucial for me because I used to play in a punk band. And so having those big humbuckers was really helpful, and being able to throw that thing around and have it feel like it had some heft to it, I think was really important for me.
Yeah.
In my formative years.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So amp-wise, I know you mentioned starting off with some Marshalls, and then moving towards the light, which I'll have you define a little bit clearer for me in a minute, and then moving back towards the darkness. I
don't want to ruffle any feathers.
Yeah. No, you're all good. There's massive respect for all of it here. So yeah, tell me about your early amps.
There's actually an interesting story here because I think the first proper amp that I had was one that my uncle made for me. He's a really, really talented like audio, like a gear maker. I don't know how you would describe it, but he makes incredible analog preamps under a company called Ecodec, and he's supplied these things to everyone under the sun that you can think of. He makes recording desks and reel-to-reels and like the whole stack. And I remember him making me one out of an old TV speaker.
Nice.
And that was really cool. And I never know what happened to that. I don't know what happened to that one. But after that, I switched to some sort of Marshall digital combo. And then I went to a JCM 900 combo. Okay. And after that, once I got tired of carrying it upstairs, I sold that and got my Hot Rod Deluxe, which I've had since then. So yeah, it's been a fairly consistent run for the last, I'd say 10 years. But before that, there was a bit of trial and error and a bit of weirdness.
Nice.
Yeah.
Complete side note here. Is your uncle still making things?
Yeah, he's still making it. And my cousin, his son is making things for Ecodec as well. Nice. He made me this crazy, where is it? I have no idea where it is, but I would find it if I could. It's looks like a tuning fork, but it's got a 9-volt battery attached and it detects radio frequencies.
Nice.
So you put it up to your phone and it gives this like kind of gnarly distortion. It's just got a big knob on it for like, I don't know, nastiness. Yeah. So they're always making some weird shit. Yeah. It's really cool.
Yeah. And are they here in New Zealand?
Yeah. They're Te Aotearoa.
Okay.
Down in the country.
Very cool. Yeah. Was there a guitar that you wish you still had that you don't have any longer?
I think thankfully not. I think I always wanted to keep hold of that Epiphone Les Paul, but reality like gets in the way of these things, right? Like I hadn't played it for a long time. I tried to modify it a few times, and I think that one had like served its purpose, and it was a really good guitar. That's actually, I think that might be the only guitar I've let go.
Okay.
So yeah, maybe not a super fulfilling answer, but that Les Paul was something special. There was actually another guitar which I wish I kept just for the memories, which was this Squire. What was it? It was like a Mustang with two humbuckers.
Nice.
That I bought in New York because we'd flown over there for some showcases, and due to various reasons, I didn't bring a guitar with me. And so I had to pick one up, and I just got this like cheapo from whatever shop it was. You walk in and there's like, the Ramones is like Moserite just on the wall. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah, sweet. No, I'll just take this Mustang over here. Thanks for $100. And then, I brought it back home to me in New Zealand, and in my suitcase, took the neck off and everything and put it back together. And then, I sold it to someone, and it was clearly their first guitar as well. They came with their dad and picked it up, and I was like, man, I'm really passing the torch here, aren't I? I'm just delivering something for you, and I hope you still play it.
Yeah, that's amazing. That's absolutely great. Love passing the torch on. That's just the way to go. So found a good home. That's the best.
I hope so.
Yeah,
I hope so. I hope it's still out there doing well.
Yeah. So for your writing process, is that something that happens differently? I know, like you said that this particular time the acoustic was out all the time, and that kind of led to kind of kicking off some of the writing process. How is it different from time to time? Because you have a couple albums out, right, and in the EP. So where do you see big differences between that inspiration hitting you?
Yeah, I think this time around, we were I think the only thing that we were intentional about was just trying to capture like the very moment that we were in, and not really like overcook it. So that's probably where the sound of the CP originated. But in terms of the writing process, like Ash and I are always writing together. We've been writing together for, nearly a decade now, which is a scary thought, but we're always just writing and then talking about what's going on in our lives and thinking about things in depth. And I would say over time, from our very first songs, which are all about relationships and sort of thinking in your early 20s and figuring out where you stand in the world, and trying to provide a solution, because we were desperately in need of a solution. Throughout both records and then to the CP, we've sort of slowly not given up, but like eased off on finding that solution. We're much more content with like sitting into where the feeling is currently and not trying to like solve it. And I think that became really evident on our second album, That's Life Baby, where we went away to Waiheke for a few days and basically wrote the entire thing. And a lot of the recordings that still exist on that record are just from those days. Like it's more of the same, like the nature you can hear through the mic bleed, and like the guitars that we had on hand were just the ones that we had, and we just used everything that we could. And if you go back to the first album, I remember that process was very intricate. Like you can only do your first album once, and we are sort of like quite pop perfectionists and quite nerdy when it comes to song structure and song detail and production techniques and all that kind of thing. So we would be doing things like running the entire mix through like a pedal board and re-recording it, and like reamping things, and live amps, DIs, like a crazy amount of layers to everything, and just making sure that every detail, every part of every song had like something that wouldn't repeat. So if you listen to that record, there's all of these noises in there, subtle ones sometimes that just add this like extra little flavor, extra little Foley, if you will, some sound effects,
foliage,
and
if you will.
Yeah, exactly. And I think throughout that time, like the writing process and the dynamic between Ash and I has just become so much more like confident, because we know that we can just bounce off each other. We know that we can say yes to an idea and no to an idea in the same sentence, and we can build on something. We can become better than our individual parts if we collaborate and bring more people in the creative process as well. So yeah, I would say it's shifted a lot, but it's always like stayed really true to what we started this project as, which was like a really true collaboration between us both. And then it's been really fun to explore how that changes throughout all of the records that we've made.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I got to ask, and I'm sure the question has been asked before, but here we are.
No, you're good.
Where did the name come from?
The name is like, it's one of those things, right? Like when you are naming a band, or I imagine like a child or like a car that you're going on a big adventure with, or like anything, you agonize over it. And I'm aware that I just compared a baby to a car, but anyway, here we go. You agonize over the choice, right? The important part of what I'm trying to say is that the choice is the most important thing. And as soon as you choose something, it no longer matters, right? You know, there's some terrible band names out there. I won't name any names, but they're like some of the biggest bands in the world, right? And so it was just down to like, we had a big list of things, and we've been watching a lot of like, was it Blue Planet? I think it was a documentary. Anyway, they do all the Foley, so the sound effects to the TV shows and the audio recordings. Those are all real, you know. When a little hummingbird flaps its wings, or when a dolphin dives, it's not someone in a studio. It's the actual field recording of that. And we were just like, that's crazy. So that ended up on the list because of that. And then we just had a deadline. And then whatever the top one was at the end of that deadline, that's the one we went with. And it's been good. I think we can safely like post-rationalize it now that it's taken on a bit of a deeper meaning. It's like the music that we create is the sound effects to our lives. Yeah. You know, if that makes sense. And so it's been a really, really good name.
Yeah.
Long may it continue.
Yeah. No, that's really good. I love that. Yeah. So what actually led you both to relocate to Sydney? I mean, I can make some educated guesses likely, but yeah, why the move, and then why Sydney of the places to move to?
We'd been here a few times before we moved, and we were always like really just welcomed by the music community here. Like there was a lot of similar artists to us that were doing things in a very similar space. Like lots of really interesting pop music is coming out of Sydney, and honestly, we kind of fell in love with it. And I think when we moved over here, the mood of our music shifted a bit. You know, there's so much to be said about the weather and the state of your life, you know, influencing how the music sounds and what you end up writing about. And I would say that's pretty evident with the EP that we've just put out. But even so, it's like, it's been so much better for the creative process. So I would say like, it's mainly just a life thing. You know, we've got such a storied history in Aotearoa, and we don't want to ever shy away from that. You know, we're still Kiwis through and through, and we say that every day. But sometimes you got to spread your wings a little bit, you know? Yeah. The little flightless bird that could.
For sure.
Come overseas, get some new experiences, come back.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Have a bit of fun.
Yeah. I mean, when opportunity calls, you kind of gotta jump on it. So that makes total sense, man. Total sense.
Yeah.
How often do you come back over the ditch?
Oh, we're back like almost every second week. I would say something crazy. I'm heading back there this weekend, and we were just back over a few days ago, for more writing with Josh. So we're working on some new music, and we're always playing shows there. We've got a few shows in the wings that we're hoping to do in New Zealand very shortly. And yeah, it's great being very close.
Nice.
That's all I can say.
Nice.
Yeah.
So another question for you. Who would be your favorite Aotearoa artist or one that really kind of has moved you or inspired you? Can be any of those, right? So, yeah.
Man, I would say like a lot of the early stuff that my mum was playing me is like really important. Like all of the Crowded House records from back in the day were incredible. Modern takes, so there's so many artists that I'm continuously inspired by. Like Ricky Reed is amazing, Page is amazing. Leisure continue to be like one of my favorite bands that New Zealand's ever produced. And then just people like Supergroove and Nesian Mystic, like a lot of that early 2000s hip hop, like it's just so good. Like it brings back such memories, right? To me, like that was what I grew up on. You know, it was the Savages and the Aradnas, Schaefer, everyone. Yeah.
Very nice. That's amazing. Yeah. Well, I don't really believe this actually exists because all music is art. But do you have a band or an artist that you would call maybe a guilty pleasure that would be a surprise to anyone who's listening to your music with Foley?
Guilty pleasure. Yeah, I mean, as you say, like I don't really believe in that. You just listen to the music that you enjoy and like be proud of it. I think people would be really surprised to know that I'm quite a metalhead.
Okay.
Like I have a tendency, like a little dark streak, you know, somewhere. I was listening to a lot of Megadeth in my time, you know, and like Lamb of God and things like that. Those were some of the first songs that I was attempting to play on guitar. Lots of, if we're going more into the pop spectrum, like lots of My Chemical Romance, which has a lot of metal influences. Those that they continue to be the best band of all time in my humble opinion.
Okay.
But yeah, like even going as far as like Mayhem and like as dark as it is, like Burzum and some of those like really dark records just have this like crazy vibe about them that I you know, itch my brain in a weird way.
Nice. Yeah, they have a lot going on in them, which is sometimes I listen to that kind of music and I can see, interestingly, because of layers, a direct correlation with things like multi-layered pop music as well, which I don't know, maybe that's weird to say, but it's true.
No, I get it. Like you listen to, there's this record, what's that band? A band called Dissection. They put out like one record and, you know, I don't even need to continue the black metal story, but you can probably guess what happened. And that whole thing is like, it's like a 3-piece, but it's layered like the most insane orchestra you've ever heard. You know, Immortal, like all of these bands. Yeah. So good. Just pure noise.
Yeah. That definitely would be counterintuitive to what you hear from Foley. So yeah.
It's a pretty far journey from Mayhem to Foley. I would kind of, but I would challenge anyone to find that through line because it does exist.
Yeah. Oh no, I believe it. I totally believe it.
Yeah.
So this one's kind of a silly question, but I'll ask it anyway. I see either a hidden theme or like maybe just a pure coincidence, but this is how my brain tends to work. It looks for random connections. Is there a food theme within the titles of your EP? Because I see things like breakfast for dinner, and then of course there's honey, and then there's this is where it starts getting out there. There's sucker punch, where depending on what country you're in, a sucker could be a candy, and a punch, of course, is hopefully not spiked.
Okay,
and then going easy, right? Depending again which country you might be in, like you can have your eggs easy. And the one where I was grasping and my family was laughing at me when I brought this up was cinematic. I was like, that's pretty close to cinnamon. So
true. Wow. Maybe it would be better if I didn't confirm it.
There you go.
Theory. I really like it. I will say there are some through lines here. And actually, until right now, I hadn't even realized the honey connection. Like, because that's just like a nickname, you know, for your like significant other.
Yeah.
I really hadn't clocked that. That was a food. We've done a lot of food themed songs though. We've done cola, we've done coffee. We joked with the producer that did those, Josh Fountain, that maybe the next one could be called beer. If we just sort of like slowly escalate the intensity of the drink.
Yeah. You need some tea as well somewhere in there. So yeah.
Yeah. But there is some thematic stuff here, you know, like a lot of the imagery that we've put out has like planes in it, which you can probably guess why that exists. There's a lot of travel. There's like big spaces. It's quite like open aired and like euphoric, I would say. And every one of those like food things that you've mentioned, I would say like one step deeper, it becomes like more about the comfort that brings. Like the breakfast for dinner one is basically comfort. It's comfort food.
Yep.
You can imagine going to a diner and getting breakfast for dinner.
Yeah.
That's as simple as it gets.
Yeah.
And I imagine that's where the phrase honey came from as well. Sweet like honey, like man.
Yep.
Sometimes I surprise myself with how my blind spots are configured, but yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, to me it makes sense because when you think about, and sorry while I wax philosophical for 2 seconds.
Go for it. It's all I'm doing.
It makes sense because I mean, like we play music, we listen to music typically together or to bring people together. And what's the other time that really does that a lot is food, right? So, and I think that's why I think you're also invoking another sense when you start bringing those into your songs, where that you start, you know, instead of just your oral senses being tingled, you start talking about the imagery like you were discussing, and that starts triggering your brain to think about the way things taste potentially.
100%.
And just writing in general.
Cool.
So visualizing, hearing, and then kind of bringing about that taste is
that's so true, man. I hope there's someone out there with synesthesia that like hears things and then tastes them. I'd really love to know what the EP tastes like.
Right? Yeah. Hopefully it's bacon, but yeah.
And eggs over easy, right?
Yeah, there you go. So actually, speaking of bricks for dinner, I know personally from a lot of my past experiences, I have some rather interesting stories about trying to find late night places to eat. And one of them actually incorporates a place that would serve breakfast, you know, all day long, 24 hours a day kind of thing. And it's not IHOP. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that out there. But what's your like favorite kind of story or random connection kind of thing that might have happened when you're late night looking for food? Because being in bands, like that happens a lot, right? So do you have an interesting story around that?
I have a big affinity for Denny's. I used to love that place. I used to go there all the time. Because it's often the only place open when you're finished with the show. But then there's been so many great like late night eats recently that we did a tour in Korea last year, at the end of last year, and after every show, the venues were just like so incredible that we had like that they sort of brought us to local restaurants. Nice. and we had like local Korean food there, like. You know, in Seoul, we went to this Korean barbecue spot that didn't speak a lick of English. And then Busan, it was this bar, so they were like getting us shots and all these like snacks and things. And then in Daegu, I got those wrong. Daegu was the shots and the snacks. In Busan, this like underground venue owner like just took us out for this beautiful meal. We had this big bowl of like fish soup, and then we had all of the like bancha and the rice and stuff, and the support bands came out, and everyone was just like hanging out, eating food, and we were talking with the local Korean band that had played with us, and just bonding. it's just so human, right?
Yeah.
Like couldn't get better than that.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So in your travels, is there a specific place that I was talking to two from Alien Weaponry, and he actually keeps a map, drops pins on his map on his phone everywhere that he finds like a really good place to eat, so that if they're ever back through that area, like he knows where he wants to go, kind of thing. Is there a place that sticks out in your mind that was, kind of like the best place that you've eaten, or is there? Like, I guess Denny's is your kind of go-to when you got to find food, regardless of what time it is.
It used to be.
Yeah, okay.
It used to be. Yeah.
Cool.
There's such a clear favorite in my head. We were over in LA doing some sessions a few years ago and stumbled upon this taco truck in a petrol station. I think it's called El Flaming. And to this day, like I've been back so many times, and it will continue to be like my dying wish to have one of those tacos before I die. Like they are incredible. It's somewhere up in like Highland Park or somewhere near there. And I'm literally sitting on the ground at a petrol station with like a thing of tinfoil in my hands. Just the most beautiful experience you'll ever have with food.
Yep.
So that's
Nice. Nice. That's I'll have to write that one down for sure. Yeah. Coming from Texas, like our general rule is that it's not going to actually be good Mexican food unless it has a dirt floor. So taco trucks obviously qualify.
I feel good about that.
Yep.
Yeah, I had some great tacos in Texas as well. And I remember we played South by in Austin, and first meal I had off the plane was like a crawfish boil.
Yes.
So I was like straight in there.
Yeah.
Love it.
I'll go ahead and ask you, where did you have that crawfish boil? Was that?
I don't think it was super authentic. It might have been some form of chain. It was in Houston.
Okay.
Yeah, it was like a roadside stop. I have no idea.
Nice.
Roadside
stop crawfish boil. It was, that's living. That's living right there.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And then we were at a Buc-ee's, and then we got the beaver nuggets and the brisket, and man, like I'm hungry just thinking about it.
Yeah, it doesn't get much better than a brisket.
No, it doesn't. So, it doesn't.
Yeah, that's great. Who would you say your biggest influences would be? That could be in general, just overall, or that could be for the music you're writing currently.
I mean, overall, like my sort of North Star has always been Prince. Like his artistry and guitar playing is quite, I think, rated now, but can be quite underrated at times. And there's just intricacies and like a colossal amount of inspiration in those songs that you can find. So that's always my North Star. I'm really influenced, I think, in my guitar playing by like Ryan Jarman of the Cribs, like that sort of early 2000s, like UK grunge, like punk revival kind of stuff, like a lot of the Hives, even though they're from Sweden, and Libertines, and any bands around that era have this sort of energy, which I think is coming through in the playing right now, that it's just got such an attitude to it, and the Cribs have continued to be like a big inspiration for me for a long time. They've always been one of those bands that I think resonates with the way that I like to write pop music, which is to be like kind of an outsider, come from a punk-ish background, like a background that's like not all about the major labels and not all about the like right way to do things, and just kind of like being fascinated with it and trying to do it and trying to find like how you can push the envelope and how you can, push the boundaries as well within that pop structure. And the way that they do it as a band is really inspiring. So I'd say they're up there right now.
Nice. And that actually leads into another question I had, which was, is there a dream band that you would want to open for or play with?
Oh yeah, I mean it's My Chemical Romance without a doubt.
I kind of figured that's where you're gonna head as soon as you said
it's
that
obvious.
earlier. So yeah.
Well, they I think I picked the wrong genre. I don't know if we do it, but you just look at their enduring success and their like the sort of gravitas that they had around the time with all of their records, and the intricacies of those records and the concepts that they brought, and the sort of like integrity that they have. And you trace that path, and now they're doing these massive arena shows with really great support acts, like 100 gigs. And you go like, man, these guys have influenced a lot of people.
Yeah. And
they've got they're kind of like a silent agent. I know they're one of the biggest bands in the world, but they're pretty underrated. So I'd like to open for them, but I'm only one half of the band.
Right.
That's all I'll say. That's all I'll say now.
Yeah, for sure. That sounds like more song material. Yeah. Sorry, I had another question come up during
No, you're
that.
good.
I've lost it though.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Just about how great that band is.
Yeah, I know. I think we just kind of like slammed into a wall with that one. So,
Yeah. Showstopper.
yeah. Do you all do? I know you talked about several of the bands that you've been meeting up with, and are you doing collaborations with any of them?
We not at the moment. We're just we're just riding with a bunch of people in Sydney.
Nice.
Just hanging out.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. And when are your next shows? Remind me again.
We've got some shows in Sydney and Melbourne. So in Sydney, we're playing on, I think it's the Thursday before Easter, with a fellow Kiwi, Meraki, and then we're going down to Melbourne with him on that same Saturday. So yeah, those will be really fun. We played in Melbourne at a very similar time last year, and it was like a really, really good show. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Melbourne crowd goes pretty hard.
Yeah. I have heard this about Melbourne. I have a previous coworker from day job who's in a band in Melbourne, and then Jason Tong, who from Headfirst Amplification, is there. So I know that there's a lot of stuff going on in Melbourne, which is, I think, probably part of the question when I was asking about like, why Sydney? Because Melbourne seems to be going off all the time. So it's the one I hear about all the time. So yeah. Well,
I won't wade into the debate around those two cities. But growing up in New Zealand, you kind of want to be around the water, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's all I'll say.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah. Awesome. It's been really, really good chatting with you. It's been really good hearing about kind of, I would say, a wild, eclectic, influential background and everything from Megadeth to even blacker metal to Prince, to My Chemical Romance. Like there's a lot going on there, and it's very interesting to hear what you're producing with those types of interests and inspirations. I think that's really, I love hearing that, because I don't think, and especially when you were talking about being influenced by the music that your parents were listening to, almost every artist I talk to says the same thing. I'm in the same boat. Like my mom cranking Creedence Clearwater Revival nonstop when I was a child. It was definitely bleeds into the stuff that I do. So yeah, it's really good to hear that, and it's nice talking to somebody who has that wild, almost Whiplash like.
Yeah, it's pretty Whiplash. Yeah, and I would say as well, just to add, like that Ash's music taste is also as inspirational to the project, right? Like she grew up listening to Fleetwood Mac with her parents. And so there's a lot of that running through it, and that's her like North Star. And then before that, she was listening to a lot of neo soul, and she's brought me like a bunch of artists like Hiatus Coyote, and like behind kind of stuff, and then pop world. Like there's so much that we listen to, and there's so much that we trade back and forth together. And then all within the bounds of this pop music envelope that we've put ourselves in and are frantically trying to get out of.
Nice. Are there any artists that you said that you would recommend people listening to right now, that if they enjoy Foley, who should I listen to next, kind of thing?
I mean, some of the bigger names, like you should listen to Remy Wolf, incredible. Suki Waterhouse is amazing. Like she's an incredible pop artist. And some of the local stuff, like Ricky Reed, as I mentioned, is an amazing pop artist from New Zealand. There's Chloe Parche and Holly Humberstone from Australia that we're really into. Alexia. Honestly, the list goes on. There's a lot of artists. Yeah.
Yeah. That's really cool. That's very cool. So let me know when you're in town. I would love to actually meet up in Meet Space, as we like to call it. So
yeah. Meet Space.
Not digital space, Meet Space. So there's a song idea. It could go horribly wrong though.
100%.
Yeah, definitely. Would love to actually physically touch base and see you all play as well. So yeah.
100%. Yeah, we're trying to tee up some stuff for May,
nice.
Which we'll say off the record.
Yes.
But you can come out and come to the show.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot of fun.
That'd be fun. That'd be great.
Great.
Awesome. Hey, I really appreciate all the time and the conversation. It's been wonderful meeting you and meeting you and getting to know a little bit about yourself and what you're doing with Foley. So really appreciate that and look forward to seeing more and hearing more from you.
100%. Thanks, Wade.
Awesome.
Appreciate the chat.
Thanks, Gabe. Take care.